Well, sorry, not sorry. I wanted to see what Kyle thought of the new Halloween Ends.
Me? All me?
I want to see what you saw. I have my very strong opinions about the film and about...
I have very strong opinions about how you both viewed this film, but we'll talk about that afterwards.
Well, as do I. Well, for me, a person who saw it in a movie theater, I think
Not
I
with
like...
his work family, by the way. That's where my strong opinion comes in at. But go on, Kyle. How did you enjoy it with your other friends?
You may continue.
The ones that don't treat you like family.
Agreed to disagree.
Yeah.
I think I enjoyed it. I think not all of it works for me, but it was ambitious in the story that I decided to tell, because it wasn't like the other Halloween movies where it's, oh, guess what? Michael Myers is back and he's killing people. Who saw that coming?
He's escaped. He finds a knife and his mask.
Yeah, it doesn't have... It's not that type of story again. Like, it still carries on from the last two movies, but I was just expecting another movie with Michael Myers at the forefront. But this time, he's more in the back of the story until, the end of the movie,
Literally
obviously.
in the shadows.
Literally in the shadows, yes. And it focuses more on a new character who has his own struggles because of a misunderstanding of an incident that he was involved with. And then it just shows this character slowly unraveling into becoming a Michael Myers of sorts, where it's kind of out of his control and it's an unfortunate circumstance that happened to him. But it was interesting in how they played that part of the story to me. And it also works pretty well with the tie-ins to Laurie Strode and what's going on with her, because this movie is a part of a time jump and she's kind of grown and moved on from it, but at the same time still has to have her own dealings of all these incidents involving her and Michael as well. So I don't think this new type of story that they were telling works all the way through, but I appreciate the effort that it made to do something different, especially for an ending or a supposed ending of this franchise. And I think it works because of that, because the kills are still fun on top of it. They're still entertaining, but it also has like an underlying uncomfortableness to it, more of a grit to itself as compared to the last two movies, which were scary but fun. Mm-hmm. And this one just had such a different tone to it, on top of going in a different direction in its story that I wasn't expecting, but I appreciate it for those merits.
What do you think, Ken?
What was your problem with the way I watched the film?
That you watched it on your cell phone and weren't paying attention to family time while you were doing it.
Oh,
I was working.
It's for work, Cody.
It was for work.
Yeah.
Well,
someone has to pay the bills around here.
I will commend Ken, though, on really sticking it to our local cinema chain, because they suck and Universal gave us an out on it. So thank you, Universal, for not making us have to go to that theater.
Well, I echo everything Kyle said. I think it was, I'm just glad I didn't waste 2 hours watching it. It's entirely possible a third of a horror film franchise is a waste.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's not too many that go.
I feel like that's the
True.
second film was a waste. Why,
No, there was no. The second film was not well received, but the first 20 minutes and the last 20 minutes of the second film were
great.
They were great.
Yeah, they're
I
pretty
would
cool.
put them up there as far as how they delivered, as far as they weren't a waste of time.
Sure.
The second one wasn't a waste of time. None of these were. They were well written, very well directed. This one took a completely different turn with the kid being the main antagonist
Of sorts, yeah.
Yeah. And the ending was poignant's not the right word, but it was a good ending with an incredible practical effect at the very end. That
Yeah,
we talked
I
about.
appreciated it. I appreciated that.
I mean,
as
there's
well.
plenty of ways to end one of these slasher horror films. I really enjoyed how they ended Halloween.
I'm glad that they ended it and it just wasn't like,
Or will they?
Or will they?
There was no open ending, which was good.
You didn't think so?
No, did you?
Just the very last shot, it had that whisper in my head of like, Or is it?
Maybe because you're so conditioned now.
I think that's part of it too, where you always have to have that teaser at the end. Ooh, that one thing could come back, but
yeah.
no, you're probably right. I think that it closes that chapter.
No, nobody comes back from that ending.
No. Well, I don't know. Halloween Kills. That guy got beat up pretty good, and he still manages to come back. So I just don't trust his franchise at this point. I don't trust this guy.
I don't trust the killer in this movie
Yeah.
to not stay
I
dead.
don't trust us.
At least he's honest about that he's going to kill people, but
Right.
honest about dying.
He's
I don't trust him.
living his authentic self.
He's honest. We've never heard him speak.
Honest in his
His honest actions.
Honest actions. Thank you. I was trying to find the word for it. But I do wonder if most people are going to echo Ken and I, or if this is kind of going to be in the territory of a quote unquote divided movie, to where people think it's either underrated and actually pretty good, or they're going to think that it's possibly even worse than the last movie. I just could see that situation happening.
I'm going to go out on a limb and have the hottest take that these three movies, the best thing that's going to come out of these is the fact that now hopefully David Gordon Green and Danny McBride write their own horror film franchise
Without
any mythology involved. There's no origin story. There's nothing. They go completely on their own.
It's funny that you say that, because I just read that that director is possibly getting the Exorcist franchise.
No, just
I
do
think
your own thing.
no,
I know, I
think
agree.
they're going to create a new trilogy and revamp The Exorcist next.
Well, I
I think
mean,
is what their plan is.
If I was Warner Brothers and own the Exorcist property, that's what I would do too. I would go after that guy,
Yeah.
and that writing
Yeah.
team to do it. But just do your own thing.
Yeah.
There's going to be no shortage of money for you to go out and create these things after these three films.
No, definitely not, especially in the realm of horror where they're cheap to make anyway.
But I want to see they're obviously both funny and can create a story, but I want to see them do their own Shaun of the Dead, their own Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I want to see them do their own completely original storyline.
Yeah,
where it
I
doesn't
totally
have to
agree.
be in the Halloween universe.
Also, Exorcist isn't Halloween either. Like, seeing Exorcist and franchise next to each other just looked wrong. Like, I don't view it as a franchise. But then again, I only think of like
maybe
the one great
maybe
movie.
Poltergeist
but
is a better one to go after then, because I felt like it could be more of a
I have no idea.
franchise.
No, none of these are.
No, okay.
No, I mean, these were such. I mean, yes, Halloween was iconic, but they also made this was the 13th film in the Halloween franchise.
However many,
So,
yeah.
I mean, and they've done that with. They've tried Exorcist or Exorcism in films, and Poltergeist has had bad sequels.
Yeah.
And it's let's try something new. We
Yeah.
have the energy. We have people that can actually pull this off.
Yeah,
Let's try something new.
absolutely.
Well, I did have one question, and I asked Ken, and he didn't really have an answer. Did it ever explain why this evil that had encompassed Michael Myers, this personification of evil, was so obsessed with Laurie? Like, what was there anything special about her, or is it she just kept surviving?
No, it doesn't explain that, but I would assume with the people making this part of the franchise that they're only thinking it's the fact that she can survive. And that's the drive. Although it doesn't explicitly tell you that,
Yeah.
that's just how I perceive it now.
That she's the only person he went after that
Got away.
got away.
Yeah,
And kept getting away over and over again.
Yeah, for sure. Although in Halloween Kills, when it's the entity of evil that encompasses him, and that's what's tearing this town apart. Like, that was also very obnoxious to me in that movie. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of glad that
I thought they were setting up pieces like for explaining why this character keeps coming back. Like, what makes him superhuman, what makes him drive to kill, and why
They
he can't
did
be.
that
I think
partially
destroyed.
with the original Halloween 2 and with Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Like, they did a
Right.
little bit of that and tried to make it supernatural.
but it's
Yeah.
I don't know. At the same time, I don't think that ever was the point of the original movie to begin with. It was always just supposed to be some guy likes to kill people, and that's the terrifying part of it. There's not a rhyme or reason why. He's just crazy.
and
And that's kind of what I like about when the movies do that.
Yeah.
and shout out to the two best actors in this franchise. the guy who plays Michael Myers does 2 of the patented Michael Myers sit-ups in this movie.
Yes.
They're awesome. When he's flat on his back and then he just rises without moving his legs. It's like, yes.
He has a sense of humor. I have to appreciate that.
And then the African-American sheriff is awesome.
Oh yeah, anytime he steps out of the car, I just applaud in my head.
He's had maybe 6 to 10 lines in this whole 3-film franchise, and every word is perfect.
Yep.
Like, this guy just nails it.
He knew the role, he knew the assignment, and major props to him. He's awesome.